Hi everyone, welcome to the Opto training video. If you are onboarding with Opto for the first time, we do have a separate video that walks you through how to get set up. The video is linked below. We encourage you to check that out and it'll help hopefully answer any questions that you have with getting started with onboarding. This video is really going to be focused on after you get your account set up, how do you make the most of the Opto app? So just to take a minute to walk through the homepage, at the top we have goals that you've set up so far. You can add goals by clicking See All Goals, which we'll show you in just a minute. The next section allows you to keep track of how much fund money you've already spent this month and how much you have left to spend. The budget fund money shows you what you set up during onboarding, how much you've set aside for fund money each month, but that can always be changed in the budget app and the budget page. And once you've connected your bank account, you'll be able to keep track of your spend by sorting through transactions in a simple way. Finally, we believe it can be helpful to keep track of things that you know you're going to spend money on later this month so that you don't overspend. So for example, if I come down to the upcoming budget events here, I'll click Add Upcoming Event. Let's say I want to save money for brunch with friends this weekend, and let's say I expect to spend $3. When I click Create, it shows that brunch is now on my calendar. And you can see up here that it's been allocated for upcoming events here as well. So that this remaining amount to spend is my true remaining amount, given that I have some things that I have already probably spent money on, and I'm going to save money for later in this month to do other activities. Then when you actually have the brunch, you'll be able to keep track of that specific amount that you actually spend when you sort transactions. And the nice thing is you don't even need to come in and worry about deleting this placeholder event. Opto will automatically remove it after the date has passed, so that way the only thing remaining is a true spent amount. And then finally, at the bottom of the homepage, you can see a running list of recent acts of generosity as well, because we really believe in the mindset of abundance and empowerment through your finances. So now we'll walk through the other pages within the app. So in the menu here, you can see that there are a number of pages, but it's really just the top 4 pages that you'll visit more on an ongoing basis, while the bottom 4 pages are only the ones you need to visit occasionally to either finish setting up your account and to make infrequent changes over time, or to provide feedback to us at any point. So we'll start at the budget page. So the budget page is where we stored information that you entered during onboarding. So you can see we had the monthly income, some non-monthly income that you tracked as well, in addition to the fixed monthly expenses that fit under needs. Again, you can always come update these at any point. You can add new categories, you can change the numbers, and you can also change generally how you want to divide up money between each month's remainder. And this fund money number here is what we'll update on that home page. Again, just come in, update these, and click update at any point that makes sense to you. Next, let's look at accounts. So go in here, we'll click accounts. This is where you'll connect accounts so that you can keep track of your spending and see how much you have in savings in real time. And we highly recommend that you do connect accounts because it's very difficult to keep track of your spending manually, especially if you have different types of cards and accounts. We connect your bank and credit card accounts securely through a company called Plaid, which is the same company used by Venmo, Cash App, and other major companies to keep your data secure. We were approved by Plaid because we have extensive cybersecurity protections in place to keep your data safe. So now we'll show you what it looks like to set up a quick dummy account now. So I'll come in here, I'll click a plus sign to add another bank account. And note there is a loading bar up here. It might take a minute for Plaid to load. If you have used Plaid before, once Plaid opens up, you can use the phone number to see accounts that you've previously connected in other apps. For this demo, I'll continue as a guest. And after I select the bank account that I'd like to connect through, it'll prompt me to continue to log in to that account through a pop-up window. So you won't see that for a second. Now, one thing to note is that for each account, bank that you select to connect a bank account through, you can still select the specific account from that bank account that you'd like to connect as well. So just be sure to add as many banks or accounts that you would like to track on a daily basis. So once I review and confirm, I'm going to allow Plaid to connect our accounts, and I'm going to finish without saving for now. So that'll just take a second to load and pull in the bank accounts. So now you can see that the accounts that I've selected to connect through Plaid are showing up under the different types of accounts. So checkings and savings accounts are under bank accounts. A credit card I have here. You can also connect loan accounts and investment accounts as well. Again, we encourage you to link any accounts that you think make sense for managing money on a day-to-day basis, so especially accounts where you're primarily spending and receiving money through. If you do want to store amounts of savings or investments without directly connecting an account, we do have this bucket at the bottom where you can manually enter information here, and we'll just take this into consideration as we think about the total amount that you have saved up. So you just click update, and that will save that number as well. Now that we've gotten your account set up, we'll go through some of the pages that you'll probably use more frequently as you use Opto throughout your day. We'll start with the goals page, and as a reminder, you can get to the goals page through two different options. First is on the home screen, you can select the button See All Goals, or you can come down to the menu here and select goals from there. So this is where you keep track of how much progress you're making towards your goals. Note that you can add goals at any point through this button here, similar to how you did during the onboarding flow. On this page, it'll automatically sort your goals by target completion date, with dates with earlier completion dates being more prominently placed, and completed goals will be marked down here as well, so you can remember how many different things you've been able to accomplish. In terms of how you set aside money for your goals, we'll help you track how much money from your savings account is being saved up for each goal. So we can't move money between savings accounts for you, but we can help you form a mental representation of where you want your savings to go. And in general, there are two types of goals, and you can navigate between the two at the top here. There are savings goals and pay down goals. So first, let's look at savings goals. This total savings amount is the amount that we're pulling in real time from your bank savings balance if you've connected your accounts on the accounts page. However, if you didn't connect your accounts yet, then we'll start by just showing you the total that you said you had in savings during onboarding. But we encourage you to connect your bank account so that we can keep showing you real-time balances. Once you're ready to allocate money in your savings account towards specific goals, you can do that by pressing Adjust Allocation on this page and by selecting the goal you'd like to allocate money towards and how much you want to move to that goal. So you can see once I do that, now $100 is showing up towards this goal here. You can also adjust allocations through the individual goal pages. So we'll encourage you to do this at the beginning of each month as you evaluate your balances with savings after completing a month of spending. This will reduce confusion that can be caused with money moving in and out of your different accounts throughout the month as you receive income and pay for different expenses. So you can click into any of these goals to edit them at any time. You can change the name, the amount, the date, etc. Again, you can adjust the allocation here within the goal specifically. And over time, as you categorize your transactions, you can mark spending for these goals specifically so you can keep track of how much this goal will actually cost over time. One last thing to note is that we've automatically created an emergency savings goal for you. This is something that everybody should have, and it doesn't have an end date, so it's under ongoing goals. We've automatically calculated it as being 3 times your monthly expenses, but you can edit that amount to be whatever you think is more reasonable. If you don't have an emergency savings yet, it could be helpful to start with a goal of $1,000 to motivate yourself to get something going before you get to the 3-month goal. After pay down goals, you come up here and select this tab here. You create the amount that you would like to pay down, but instead of allocating money from your savings, you'll only have to mark transactions that are related to paying off that debt specifically. So let's create an example goal where we want to say, let's say credit card debt, and I'm going to mark this as a debt pay down goal, and let's say it's $500, and let's say I want to pay it off in a few months. I'll save this. And in the future, as I sort different transactions, whenever I come across a transaction related to paying this credit card debt, I'll mark it as going towards this goal. For now, this amount won't be exact because it won't pull in interest automatically, but we are working to make that more real time in the future. The next page we'll look at is the spending page. This is where you'll be able to sort all of your transactions and see how you're doing over the course of the month. At top of the page, we'll help you track your spend activity. You can edit your expected amount for each section on the budget page that we showed earlier. And the current section will update automatically as you categorize transactions so that you'll be able to see how you're doing throughout the month. Below, you'll see a chart that shows when you have spikes in spending, and every single transaction will be listed in a table at the bottom of the page. As you can see underneath the transaction names, each transaction automatically pulls in a category from your bank, but we believe it's helpful to simplify your tracking by also marking them under what we call a primary category, such as needs or fund money. Let's go ahead and categorize some transactions. On this page, we have a super simple approach to categorize transactions that will take you less than 5 seconds per transaction. So you can get through a couple of days worth of transactions in under a minute. So it's kind of like swiping on your transactions. As we mentioned, for sorting transactions, we focus on primary categories shown here. These are needs, fund money, generosity, similar to what we focus on during onboarding. And we do this so that you focus on the big picture of where your money is going without spending more time on sorting than you'd prefer. We also provide secondary category options so you can track spending on a more granular level if you'd like. These are pulled in automatically from your bank, but you can customize them if you want. It's completely up to you how much detail you prefer to add, whether you want to add secondary categories or not, and you can see how much is being spent in those secondary categories as well. So let's briefly talk through what these buckets are. So first is needs. So you should only use this really for necessary expenses that would be added to your budget. Though it is okay to add maybe unexpected needs that might come up, like a medical expense if they don't want, but you should keep it to things that you truly need. Second is fund money. This should be anything from eating out to getting drinks with your friends, to coffee and shopping, anything that's not included in that necessary need bucket. Third is generosity. This is any time you donate to a cause or give money to a friend or a family member who's in need of help. Fourth is goals. So this is where you'll actually have a transaction that's going towards a goal that you've already set. So let's say you purchase a flight for a wedding in Boston. So I'm going to choose a savings goal to put this transaction towards, and you'd select wedding in Boston and save that here. And again, so you can go back and track how much you actually spent towards that goal. Next is income. This is just any money that you earn in some form or fashion. Next is a transfer between accounts or payment between accounts. And this is just when you move money from one account to another. It could be moving money from your checkings to your savings, or when you make a payment towards a credit card. The actual credit card transactions for things you spend money on should automatically be tracked in Opto if you've connected that bank account. So you don't want to also mark this as spend, because that would be essentially double counting. So you'll just mark this as, you mark payments as a transfer. Next is reimbursement. So this is where you track things that you expect someone to pay you back for. So if you made a purchase and cover, let's say, food for a friend and expect them to pay you back, you can mark that here. And finally, you may want to split a transaction between some of these categories. Let's say you covered a dinner, and part of that will go to your fund money, and part of that will be, you'll be reimbursed from other people. So we'll just walk through that briefly, how to do this for a minute. So let's say you were splitting this transaction with friends. Let's say first, some of this money is allocated to me. So I'll set $2 is my portion of this that I'll cover. And next, I'll select reimbursement for the rest of this, and I'll assume my friends are going to pay me back for the rest of this transaction. The important thing to note is that the remaining to allocate should equal to 0. Once it's done, I can click. One other thing to note for reimbursements is that, let's say you get income that, let's say Venmo from a friend who was paying back for something. If you've already marked that transaction as reimbursement, then you can also mark the income that's covering that expense as a reimbursement under the reimbursement category as well. So that way you're keeping track of money you should be reimbursed for and you're getting paid back for, all in the same category. There are two last things to note on the spending page. So we'll go back to that page here. So one thing to know is that you can always update a transaction manually by clicking on it. And you can change anything from the primary or secondary category. You can change the date. You can hide it from your budget altogether or leave a note. And you can further break down a transaction if you need. The second thing to note is that you can also see your spend breakdown by the different categories that you've marked them as. So when I click into see category breakdown, you can see how much you've spent for the month, both under the primary categories that we've discussed on the sorting page, but also under the secondary categories as well. You can even click into each category and see the individual transactions that have been categorized there as well. And finally, the last page that we'll show you is a generosity page. So you can get to this both from the menu, but also from the home page at the bottom. This page is where you can track what you've been able to give back to others as you reach financial freedom yourself. And we don't just track monetary goals. You can track items that you've given donations, like clothings or books, hours you volunteered. And this is a page that will allow you to reflect on ways you've been able to look beyond yourself with both your time and money. So to show you what this looks like, I'm going to go to the home page and say I marked this as generosity. Let's say it's a United Airlines Foundation. You can see that the recent giving will show up here, and it will also show up on your generosity page. So we track monetary giving automatically when you are storing your transactions, but if you want to add something manually, whether it's money, time, or items, you can do so by clicking Record Generosity. You can select what you would like to give. If you want to give a description for, say, lunch for someone, you can also save that here as well. And with that, we appreciate you checking out Opto, and we hope you find it useful. We would love, love, love any feedback you have for us, so please send that through the app anytime. Again, you can come into the menu, select Give Feedback through this form here. You can also reach out to us at contact@optofinancial.com. And we would also be more than happy to jump on a call with you to discuss ways we can improve Opto if that better fits your needs. So just let us know if that would be helpful, and we would be happy to schedule some time. Thanks again, and we really hope Opto can help you reach your financial dreams.